Hey there folks, welcome to our board game night. Tonight we're playing Summit the board game. Now this is going to be a little different to our normal videos, as we just finished playing Summit and we've decided we're going to do a quick video for it. There's going to be no gameplay for this one.
Yeah, so a quick review.
I'm just going to give you a quick overview of how the rules work, and then we're going to talk about our playthrough, and you'll get, I think at the end of the review, you'll get the idea of why. So this is Summit the board game. It's from Inside Up Games. And it's a mountain climbing game where you're obviously trying to reach the summit of the mountain. Each player will have...
For me to hold up stuff?
Yeah, you can... Oh, by the way, with me I have Michael.
Hi there.
Martin.
Hello.
And Dee. And myself, Jason. Okay, so Mike, show you your player board quickly.
Okay, so this is my player board. We have at the top, you have a food track. So this is the amount of food you carry. You know, it's got all these dumbbell symbols along here. The more stuff you carry of various things, it weighs you down, which I'll get to in a sec. So you've got food at the top, which you consume as you go up the mountain. Then you've got oxygen tanks, which you consume via different events and stuff that happens, similar to the food. And again, you've got dumbbells along there. Then you've got the weight you're carrying. So you take off all of the dumbbells from here, add along here, and you can see you lose movement from these. And
you're quite weak as well.
Yeah.
Like only two.
All the different characters have different charts here, which is one of the more interesting aspects of the game. The characters are all different, but they're different in quite subtle ways. So this reduces your movement. Equipment you can pick up has dumbbell symbols on similarly, so that again reduces your track. So you can see that one there. Then you've got a health, and you can see down here again your movement gets reduced as you get damaged throughout the game. And lastly, you have your movement stat, which goes up. So basically, during the game, you move these little counters. They stick in here. You move them along here, and as they move, they alter the other ones below them. So that's quite an interesting little player board.
It reminds me of an abacus.
Yeah, it is a little like an abacus. I'd prefer maybe a few extra little symbols, kind of like pointing you of where to move what, because I get on moving stuff and forgetting, but that's probably just me.
Oh god, yeah, me too as well.
But that's the player board.
Okay, so just zoom back out again. This is the actual game board. So we start down here in the base camp.
Obviously, these tiles, we've played it, so these tiles
Base
are
camp
generally on
tiles there.
And there is another tile here that was in the centre, but it got destroyed. There was
See
a
if we can find
disaster.
it.
That's what the halfway tile looked like. So that's the halfway base camp. And the reason why that's significant, I'm just going to put it back in there so you can see it.
I'll put it the right way around, shall I?
The reason why that's significant is because the way you win this game is obviously trying to reach the summit. And as you're going up, you start at the base camp and you work your way up the mountain to the halfway base. When you reach the halfway camp, the first one to reach there will get 4 points. Second person 3, 2, 1, etc. Then when you reach the summit, same thing happens, and then you have to make your way back down again. So when you reach the halfway camp, you score points.
But you don't have to stop at the halfway camp on the way back down, do you?
Yeah, you don't. You can just go through it and plant your flag, basically. And then this is when you reach the base camp again. So that's how you score your points. And then over here, there's a karma track, and we'll explain more about that in a second. But that's where you score your points. So you get points from how fast you got to those positions, and how well you are on the morale.
Numbers here, so 12 if you've got maximum, and -2 where...
I don't think anyone went above 7 in ours.
No.
I was off at 9.
Yeah,
Right.
went up to 9.
So
Angelic.
before I start talking about the karma, there's two ways you can play this game. We were playing the competitive version where we're racing against each other to get to the top. You can also play a co-op version, which is on the side of this board, where you work together, obviously, to form a communion at the top of the mountain.
Yeah, all the cards have symbols on to tell you which card you use in the co-op and which card you use in the competitive
Yeah,
version
none
of
of
the
the
game.
karma cards, as I recall, it's a bit hazy, but I don't believe the karma cards are in the co-op version.
No, then no. So these are what the karma cards look like. They're the red back ones, and they basically take that card sort of thing, or benefits that you can give other people that will give you good karma. So for example, the top here, this one, it's if someone wants to force someone else to move, I can play this on them, which shows you the little angel symbol, which will give me 2 karma and it'll stop their unwanted movement. For example, this one, I can lose a karma and then make someone lose some food, or like this one, I can swap positions on the score track and gain some karma. And the reason why you would do these, obviously, you can only play them at a certain point. So, for example, if you need to spend 2 karma to play something, you need the actual karma to play it. So you can't just...
Yeah, and the other fairly fundamental thing about karma as well is you can't spend it if you don't have it, essentially, and everyone blocks other people's movement.
Yeah.
So they have to get permission from you to move past them. If you give them permission, you gain a karma. If you stop, you lose. If you stop them, you lose 2 karma. But obviously, you can only do that if you can afford to lose it.
Yeah.
So it's quite tactical in terms of when you're blocking movement and whatnot.
And that came up quite a bit. I mean,
a huge amount. Yeah.
I'm going to put a picture up during. I'm going to point there. I'm going to put a picture up there where we had a traffic jam at the top here.
Yeah.
And that slowed the game down for almost like an hour, as no one wanted to let anyone go past, because obviously you can score points when you get to the top there. Other things obviously affect the game. You can see there's lots of tokens on the board. These are from random events, because this blue deck here is an event deck. And why that's relevant is because at the end of your turn, you roll the weather dice and the event dice. This event dice is literally blanks and event cards.
Isn't it? 2 in 3 chance of getting an event.
Yes. And the events are really wide-ranging. One of them
my God,
destroyed
yeah.
all the paths up the mountain. The other one put bandits at the top. Some are really helpful, but I reckon at least 2/3 are bad for you.
I would say most of them are bad. Some of them are kind of neutral to don't really do a lot, and there's a couple of positives. I wouldn't say many are positive at all.
And you can customize it a little bit.
There's some positive cards you can add in there.
And
they've got all the
keep
little
it
symbols
weighted.
on them, like
There's some like super hard cards they say that you should possibly remove
like that.
for the first few games.
That symbol over there is the really hard ones, and you can remove that.
And then I've
That
got-
one's only for competitive play.
I've got this one here with a little sun in the corner, and that's a good card. This one stops the weather dice needing to be rolled.
So what else haven't we mentioned?
Well, on the weather die, that forces you to consume food equal to how many snowflakes. The sun does nothing, and then that one affects the blizzard track, which is this. Starts off low, and it goes up every time. And whenever it lands on, everyone has to pay that. So we were here, so when it landed there, everyone had to pay 2 food and 2 oxygen, which was getting pretty ropey at that point.
And of course, if you can't pay any of this stuff, you lose health.
Yeah.
That's it.
And if you lose all your health, you are dead and out of the game. As this little red silhouette over here shows, as D lost
To be fair,
all his life.
he died pretty much from stomach issues, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Food poisoning, and then he got the shits, basically. Slowly died from dysentery or something.
I suppose the other fundamental point we haven't spoken about is actually how you move.
Yeah.
So if you look at the board, there are ropes with little knots in, and your movement stat. So mine started at 7. Did everyone start at 7?
No, we were saying
So-
you're fast.
I started at 7, and it goes up and down depending on what you're carrying and how injured you are. So you can move a number of knots. So if you're here, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4. And there are different colours. The brown ones, they're free to move over. The blue ones, generally, there are more knots.
Yeah, they're
for
ice
the
tiles,
space on the
so
board, you can
theoretically they're
see.
slippy and whatnot.
You can see this one here, quite a good example. There are only 2 knots on that whole tile, whereas this one, same length, but there are 4 knots on it. And we were talking about the karma moving past. So if we're set up like that, and I'm walking up here behind him, you go 1, 2, and then you have to ask the person ahead of you, can I pass on your rope? Because obviously you're climbing a rope, it's quite difficult. They can choose to either say no, in which case they lose 2 points on the karma track, or they can say yes, in which case they gain a point on the karma track.
At the point you pass.
Yeah, so it's you get traffic jams. You want to build up your karma so you can stop people going ahead, because it's obviously a race to get to places.
Yeah, you didn't mention the yellow one.
Oh, yeah, the yellow
That's
ones.
thin air tiles. So when you enter that costs you 1 oxygen point, but only when you enter, as far as we understand. And the other thing is when you're place tiles, it's basically when you move on to a space that isn't there. That's the point you place.
You have a
new one.
hand of generally 3 tiles to choose from, and it replenishes at the end of your turn.
What I think quite amusing about this board is I'm looking at this board now, and this board looked nothing like this an hour ago, and nothing like that an hour before that.
Yeah,
Indeed. Yeah.
The whole complexion of this board has changed multiple times throughout the game.
Right.
loads
so.
of the cards affect where stuff is. Loads of the event cards in particular.
I mean, we were saying earlier as well that this thing exploded halfway through the game.
Yeah.
Luckily, we'd all been there.
So
D hadn't.
that's basically
Yeah, I
how
think
it's
that's-
played. That's pretty much it.
So it's not a complex rules game.
No, not at all. No.
There's not a whole lot of moving parts in it. It's the random effects you get from the karma cards and the event cards are what drives the game.
Alright, so now that we've basically given you a brief overview of the rules, we'll have a little chat about the game. Sorry, there's no gameplay this time. Maybe at some future point we'll play another game, but I think we wanted to get it on record about how we play. Martin's played the co-op version as well.
I did. I played it at Essen, so it was a demo game, so it wasn't the full thing, but a 4-player one.
Is this on Kickstarter at the minute? Or is it
No,
on-
it's,
I
you
think
can
it-
buy it at retail.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it was a Kickstarter game,
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
it? But it's fulfilled a while back. Yeah, the co-op had some moderate changes. I mean, obviously one of the fundamental ones was You didn't have to ask permission to go past people. You just did it. You didn't have the kind of take that cards. And you also, each person had a Sherpa, which carried food and oxygen. And they kind of went with you, and you could, I can't remember exactly how you interacted with them, but basically you just take oxygen and food off them, so it's just a bit easier, and you can trade with each other.
It's more of a challenge against
one
the
of your
event
actions.
cards.
You could skip your movement to
Yes.
resupply from the Sherpa.
Yeah, that was it, yeah.
Back of the...
Do you get more event cards? Do you
No.
draw more per turn? Interesting.
I didn't think it was that hard, but obviously you can see the points. You get more points the more people that get to the summit and things like that. So it's kind of like, you're almost like going, we want to try and beat
It's
the score that
interesting
we got
having
last time.
a co-op and then an opposing game in the same game.
Yeah. Nice
The game can play solitaire as well. You can play the solo. And there's solo rules.
Mine loves solitaire games.
All right, so we've had enough of the rules. Let's talk about this particular playthrough and what we think. How about you start with you, Martin?
Me? Okay. I'll start with the good, shall we? I think the components, well, the aesthetics maybe not great. They're kind of a weird, almost like cartoon, cel-shaded type art. And, the pictures are a bit odd. But I think ultimately the components are pretty nice. I mean, the wooden tokens.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with them.
The card stock's pretty nice. And I said earlier on as well in the game that there's a lot of cards and they don't seem to duplicate at all. So
Big chunky dice.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of variability in there, which is really cool.
We were saying the boards having the little inserts, even though they're not the perfect fit,
Yeah,
they're
quite,
better than none.
Exactly, they're a very tight fit to get your cube in, but it's definitely better than having
really
a
useful for having a
loose cube.
Some weird meeples.
Yeah, the meeples are probably one of the things. I think I'd prefer just a normal meeple.
They're a strange. They're a laser cut out, so you might be able to see there. My little meeple is cut out in the shape of mine, so you can see the little arm sticking out the side. Martin's is quite funny because it looks like he's smoking something.
Well, I think it looks like a giant nose and my butt sticking out.
Yeah, but that is literally a cut out of the silhouette of the picture.
So we say the components are decent.
I think the components are nice generally. Yeah,
You get a lot of components as well.
Yeah, the box is heavy, and kudos for the removable tray that holds the tiles as well.
Yeah. Holds them nicely.
You just slot this back into the insert of the box.
Yeah. I mean that's cool, and it's nice that they thought about that. In fact, that was mentioned when we were at Essen as well, and they said that was something that they actually.
That is a thing I noticed in Kickstarter games. So many of them have proper custom-made packaging
thought out.
That's well thought out.
Yeah.
It's not just a board game company's gone, we've got that shape box, print the cover on, whack it all in.
Indeed, yeah. So the components, yay. Game, I think it plays okay. I mean, you've got some amount of choice when obviously as you go. When the further around you are, and God knows what this is like as a 6-player, Jesus. But the further around you go, obviously, the less choice you've got because tiles and things are already going to be placed on there, and you kind of found that as well.
Yeah.
So that is potentially one negative, and there's an awful lot of luck of the draw stuff in there, really. And it did seem to be as soon as someone got ahead or someone was looking like they were going to get to the summit first or get whatever, they just got wailed on repeatedly. And to be honest, that was pretty much all the game was.
Well, evident of the fact that D got to the halfway camp first and to the summit first and died first.
Yeah, and then died here as well.
And mainly died because Martin and I dicked him over with health cards, didn't we?
Yeah, we had to. Yeah.
We just
it felt like we had to.
We each played at least a couple on you, and your health just plummeted. And
Yeah.
there's a bit of a death spiral in the game. Once it's really hard to get back
Look at his
in.
face.
I can't wait till I can tell you what.
Well, I mean, in the co-op version, health really didn't seem much of a big issue at all. But obviously, in the competitive one, you're throwing a lot of cards at each other, and it's fair. I mean, people's health went very quickly.
I got down to 2, and I got back to the base camp really luckily. I rolled so nicely on the weather dice, I never hit myself.
Cards are very swingy as well. I mean, some equipment is just fundamentally miles better than others. Like the sledge with webbing that you had was a great combination, but that was so good.
Increased tile hand size, oh yeah.
More importantly, for one weight.
Yeah,
that's actually costing you a weight to draw an extra tile, and then you spent most of the game not playing tiles as well. So
I had a card which allowed me to negate the effects of 3 different types of event, which we didn't see for the entire game, and we went through all of those event cards there.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you've got things like impatient, steal target's turn, play resumes to their left. I mean, yeah, it costs 3 karma. That's a lot of karma. But oh my
Yeah.
god, still their turn.
Yeah,
That's really bad.
That's basically 3 points.
And not short board game.
Yeah, but you can get
You
it back reasonably
yeah.
easily.
No, I'm saying 3 points is not a lot.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
I
that
mean,
sort of
we went up and down this like anything. And the other thing that this has, which is almost a cardinal sin, player elimination in a not short game. I mean, one of the reasons he looks like he does, other than his
Genetics.
is because he's
basically
sat
sat here
there
for 2
for a
hours.
long time looking in my ear as we just played this game without him. And that's tedious, frankly. And we were not really enjoying it for probably 2/3 of that game.
Yeah.
If this game lasted an hour, it would have been
or
not
even,
bad.
Or even an hour and a half would be alright.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
But we far exceeded 2 hours with this. And okay, yeah, there were some bottlenecks, which, I mean, there was only one route into the summit tile because of that happened. You know, I can't
But they're
remember
all
what it was.
They're all design
There's an
elements in the
event
game which are there. I mean,
Yeah, but it was
yeah, it's possible we
bad luck
randomly-
that we got them,
Yeah.
certainly. And there was things that kind of wiped the whatever it was, and various other things that slowed us down, which could have lengthened the game length. But ultimately, this game took us approximately 3 hours, maybe
Three
more,
and a half.
Only 3.5.
and it is not good enough for that in any way,
Yeah.
shape, or form. As this game went along,
we
right,
could have set up Twilight Imperium in that time.
yeah, I mean, my opinion of it started off not bad, and it went down and down as we kind of every half an hour sort of thing, to the point where I think I'm probably now at 3 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's.
The thing is,
At
interesting.
one point, I thought it was an average game. I now think it's a bad game.
You see, what's interesting about this playthrough as well is like I have a similar feeling to you. Like when we started, I was like, all right, this is cool. Aesthetically, it's not my most visual game that I enjoy, but I kind of like some of the choices and some of the ideas. And then it just got to the point where it's like, holy crap, there's a lot of dickage going on, and it's not fun dickage.
It's just
'cause
a grind.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's extending the game longer and longer, and every time you have to get to a point where you're like, can I go past you? No, all right, I'll just
Yeah.
skip my
Yeah.
turn.
Sitting
I
there
mean, we
thinking,
literally sat there in a line. Can I go past? No. That was
Sitting
it.
there hoping
Or-
when I get to my turn, will I get to do the thing that I might be able to do? Oh no, I'm not been able to do it.
Yeah.
You have to wait until it goes round again.
And because you can get through the karma cards pretty quickly, it's just every turn I'll dick you over, dick you over.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we played Roadhog last week, which was what, like a 40-minute game, half an
half
hour,
an hour, yeah.
and that's 90% dickage, and it's super fun. This game is, well, it's supposed to be 2 hour game roughly, or hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on how many players you're going to play. And because of the dickage, because of the bottlenecks that can come up, you end up looking at a situation where you could play easily 3.5 hours on this.
So it says 20 to 30 minutes per player, and it does play up to 6 as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if
Even
that took
the-
us 3 hours, conceivably with 6 players, it could have taken even longer. You've got
Yeah.
another 6 or another 8 karma cards involved and all that.
Oh,
Another 2
could
players.
have been murder,
a lot
especially
more
at the top.
blocking.
What I thought was also interesting is I read the rules for this, and I thought the rulebook was reasonably well written. You know, I understood most of whatever happened. But when it got to the
There are way too many ambiguities
Yeah.
going on.
the cards themselves, these karma cards, there were so many times. So we sent you like 5-10 minutes on each
I think
card
that's
going.
my main complaint with the game, and I think it comes from playing a lot of Magic in my time, is that games need proper time rules. We'd pick up a card, so a card says immediately on it. So that kind of tells you, as soon as you play this, and it says you can play at any time, it's got a little symbol on it that says you can play it. So how do they interact? Do I play one, then the other one comes into play and resolves first? You have to wait?
Well,
There's
there
nothing to tell you.
There was
this.
also the fairly simple thing of who can you target with a card. So you read in the rules, it says targets are anyone that's not you. Cool. And then
Yeah.
you get one that says target player does this. If you target yourself, don't
Yeah.
do this. And you're like, but I didn't think I could target myself with this. This implies that then I can target myself with this.
And then it's
which
the-
then so can targets target anyone else? And you've got that weird level of ambiguity.
Yeah.
And you've also got the kind of the layers of how does this work?
The dropping
This-
equipment was one of the things. So this equipment I just picked up weighs 3. So what does it do? Double movement when descending. So
Holy shit, that's good.
if you've got 5 movement, that gives you 10 when descending. But you're allowed to drop equipment on your go, but it doesn't specify unless we missed it in the rules, which we may have done. So can you move 5 down, then you drop it, or you can drop it before, or pick it up halfway? It doesn't explain any
Yeah, I
of
suppose
that.
the thing is, because I suppose the problem we have with it is it's not like you have a bank of movement at the beginning of your turn, you say, right,
Yeah.
start of my turn, I have 10 movement to use. And then you spend all those 10 moves and do some other stuff. It's a case of...
Yeah, your stats
right, so
adjust as you're
I've-
going along.
I've got
yeah.
5 movement now, so I'm going to use 3. Then I'm going to pick this up, which gives me another 2. So I'm going to use one of those. Then I'm going to pick something else up, which then makes me lose another movement.
Yeah.
So now I've actually moved one further than I can, but then there's something else in my square, so I can now pick that up. And there's
Movement should maybe be a stat which is
at the beginning of your turn. This
beginning
is
of turn, work it out, and at the end of the turn, you then
Adjust your
reset
tile or
it.
something.
You only adjust. It may say it in the rule book, who knows? But you only adjust your movement at the start of your turn.
You definitely
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
adjust your
Definitely
stats
says, yeah,
as it
it
happens.
says
And
that.
there's so many ways. Everything on this tile that moves alters your movement. So it's going up and down when you move. So it'll go down when you've moved your full movement. It'll go up and down before you've moved. It's
You spend some food, your
Yeah.
movement goes up.
and just the whole
somebody pays a
timing.
card, it means you've now got less weight, so you've got more
yeah,
movement.
someone breaks one of your
involved.
items,
Yeah.
and now
And
you
then
can
you
move
speed
again.
up, yeah.
Yeah, all the interaction between all the items and the events and stuff just doesn't work. It needs to be codified.
And the other slightly
and an
irritating
order.
thing was the player abilities as well seemed to be... some were
Jason's
pretty
was
definitely better than others.
appalling.
Yeah, mine was terrible. But, like, for example, Martin can just ignore any
Food
food
loss,
loss,
yeah.
on anything.
Which is amazing.
And mine is, my tile hand is permanently increased by
Just
1.
to clarify that, it's food loss caused by other players, not from the,
Yeah.
the weather dice. But even still, that's really powerful.
Tile hand
Really
increased by 1.
powerful.
I laid 4 tiles in the entire game, and all of those are in the last half hour of our play.
Yeah. I would like
I
to-
didn't look at it for 3 hours.
Before we carry on, I want to just point out to viewers that are watching this, we're doing this mainly on a first impressions basis.
Certainly.
Because most of us have only played this once or twice, and we don't really want to play it again. So therefore, we're doing an impressional video
I
of what...
would be alright never playing it again, if I'm honest.
Me too.
You ever said how much you would rate it?
Score, I've... It
And also
started off badly.
give some, yeah.
I was last, and we were coming out the tracks at the base, and I was behind other players, and I felt I really had very little control. As I say, I didn't play any of these until we'd gone up, and I was 3 squares away from the end. So I wasn't building the mountain at any point, and I think I may have lost a little bit of that. I was basically following people and attempting to dick them over to get ahead of them. But yeah, we've gone through loads of points, and I'm going to leave D quite a few because I think he'll enjoy it. I'm with Martin. I can't give it more than a 3. Poor, I wouldn't want to play it again. I would. The only way I'd possibly play it again was the co-op side, and I'd want to play it maybe 2-player, just to give it a try, and hopefully it'd be quicker. But I wouldn't want to do it.
If you were forced,
Yeah,
straight ahead.
if it was that, I'm going to work or something.
How did you guys feel the theme was represented?
Not at all. I mean,
The event cards were reasonably thematic.
well, other than bandits, we got to the summit, and then we all got robbed. There's basically a gang at the top of the summit that stole all of our stuff. You know, I'm not being funny. I know I'm not a mountain climber, don't get me wrong, but I'm reasonably certain that gang, Crips and Bloods don't operate in the Andes, fucking robbing shit from people. That doesn't happen.
It was massive up there. They got
Some of
us.
the cards are not bad, and the weather dice and that sort of escalation
Yeah.
is not bad, but some of them bollocks.
Yeah.
I love the idea. The traffic must be high. Let's go. We're gonna make a fortune robbing people at the top of the end. I mean, obviously, that's a very situational situation. They go,
But it happened. Funny enough, when I played, it happened on that tile.
At the top, we've got the bandits, which robbed us at the top. On the same top tile, because we spent so long up here in the traffic jam, we've got a secret cave at the very top of the mountain to help you survive the storm.
That's where the bandits live.
We've also got an evil crag which stops us using
Serac,
half the
whatever that
map.
is.
It's an overhang. I read the fluff.
This
And
is
all that happened in the top 2 spaces of the board, and that slows the game down, robbing us. But things like Jason knows the robbers are there, so he got to this little knot here, dropped all his equipment on the floor.
After we'd got past.
Yeah.
as well.
Dropped his equipment on the floor, reducing his movement, speeding up his movement, ran to the top, got the victory points, ran back to his equipment, all in the same turn, picked it up and sledded down the mountain. It's like, naked guy runs past the bandit.
The bandit's like, he's been robbed already, there's got nothing left to give. Yeah.
crazy man running around. By the way, just to point out, Martin won this game with 21 points. I
That's
came
right. I earned it.
I came second with 19.
13.
And then
12. Posthumously 12.
Dude.
Considering he didn't get to 2 of the...
He only played half the game, he actually got 24.
well, I must admit, what was quite interesting is that Martin. Look, you can see Martin came third, second, and third in the
I
race.
actually came third there, but I played a card that swaps.
The karma has a massive effect. Martin and I were fighting out the end, but Martin had 6 karma, I had -2, so that's an 8-point swing. We're on the same points other than the karma.
Yeah.
And that's all kind
for
of
a
card playing and things.
It was utterly random. I can't even say I
Yeah.
played for it.
It's whether you... I just spent all the last turns...
Basically, do
not
I have
being able
out
to
of turn
play.
positive cards? Yes, I play them immediately. Done.
Yeah.
Go up.
And it's how many of those you draw, because you can only
Yeah,
discard a card a
I
turn.
didn't draw almost any positive.
I think you were
karma.
stuck like me, stuck on... You're either down on 0 or -2 karma, so you can't play any negatives, meaning you can't get any cards out of your hand, so you then can't draw the positives to get yourself up the track.
Yeah. You can obviously ditch one at the end of your
You should
turn,
have to
but
ditch all.
yeah. All right, let's watch listen to the volcano as he mentions what he likes about this game.
Components are nice. I like the idea of games. You
Please
can
don't flip my table.
Racing a mountain. This game was horseshit. Right, I say that in a slight bit of jest. I didn't enjoy the game.
Did you enjoy it at any point?
I thought it was, once again, I thought it was okay starting it. It got to a stage where I made a lunge and I went 7 spaces ahead of everyone else. So I've had a good turn, used loads of items, moved quite far up the track. The one problem with games like this is the second you do that, you become a massive target and threat. You get completely fucked over, and there is no cards, realistically, apart from 2 that we saw, to mitigate any of that.
Yeah, it's completely blind luck. It's the Munchkin effect, basically. Who's near winning? He is. Everyone wails on him. Now he's nowhere near winning, or he's dead in this case. Now who's next?
It's
And you
Mario
hope
Kart,
to
isn't it? In Mario Kart, you're at the front.
Who's
the
first?
game has
You get
inbuilt
first.
things, and everybody fires their red shells, and you just go, oh, knocked over, oh, knocked over, oh, knocked
so
over.
whether there is an idea in the game of don't go first, literally just try to stay in second, like try to stay that far behind the person in first place. I don't know.
Jason beat me by quite a margin. He was last for a good portion of the game.
So obviously that annoys me because I did a turn, went far ahead, and then I got completely fucked by 2 people, and there's nothing you can do about it. Second point, player elimination. Like I said, I died an hour into the game. The game took about 3.5 hours.
Yeah,
That's fucking horseshit. Circumstantial.
I'm pretty sure
probably,
this video is not going to go on the dice tower.
never get on the dice now. Just give it up.
Probably circumstantial with what we were saying about how terrible it was at the top. I'm sure if for some reason I went insane and played it again, that wouldn't happen.
No, I don't agree. I think it would, because they've designed it to be a bottleneck.
Yeah.
No, but
It starts on 2
saying,
base
I'm
camps.
saying in terms of having that tile happen there, right next to
that
there,
exact
Oh,
tile.
was
That's-
really
and
bad.
having the bandits on the top tile. The bottleneck thing, I think it's going to happen
Yeah,
in almost
there
every
are
single
but it
only
also
2
im-
entrances.
Yeah,
but
but
I'll
it
get around that.
implies that there would be
there would
negative
normally be
things.
2 exits. Maybe that's circumstantial. In this particular game, it made it a lot more horseshit. They've said about the cards, like it's just not clear. I don't think the rules are clear
We
enough.
decided ourselves on loads of them. We just were like, oh, we think that works.
we had to like house rule a couple of things, just a case of actually this probably sounds right.
But whenever you
Doesn't
house
say it.
rule, one of the players who is house ruling, so 3 of us come to a consensus, that's how we'll play it. It's going to be better for one of those 3 players, the way you've decided to play it. There's no game around that. So you need the game to be able to tell you that that's how
Yes,
it works.
there should be no
there's
ambiguity at all.
So there's no gaming in the system. You just get screwed over by it.
I felt like there was a lot of gaming going on,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
towards the back end of this game. You know,
There's a lot of just, how does this work? Well, we think, there's 2 of us will say we think that way, and the other person's like, well, yeah, okay.
fine, I'll go with
Yeah,
the majority.
yeah.
Well, one of the things I was thinking about while you guys were talking, and also kind of annoyed me slightly, is this is kind of a race. In fact, it's a race game. You're racing to the top, then racing back down again. But like I made it first to the base camp, and not because I thought, well, I'm going to win, so therefore I can go. It was like, if I don't go to the base camp, I'm dead.
Yeah, we were killing you.
Yeah, and it's like I have to go there, so I have no chance of basically it gives the people who go after me, because once you reach the base camp, you no longer play cards, or you can play the cards you have left in your hand. Yeah,
Or whatever, yeah.
but
that's really a side point.
Yeah.
Playing those cards is pretty unimportant.
so basically I have to go to the base camp, or I die and I don't score the points anyway, if I just sit there and try and build up my karma or something like that. You know, we're taking weather effect dice. We're losing food. You have very little resources, so you don't have time to mess around. You need to get in there. But that does leave the people that go after you to go, well, I know what I need to beat now, so I'll just do this. And
Not that we did work out points,
no,
really, did
but we were in a race to get finished because we didn't want to play.
We were just game
That's
over,
true,
man.
Yeah.
Two last things to add. When we're saying about the ambiguity of the cards, I think one problem that we had is also the amount of things which had negative karma versus things which had positive karma. It was way too weighted on negative karma. So it means that, like I said, you would just get too many cards in hand. You couldn't play. You could only ditch one per turn. And then another thing with the cards were there were cards which are like, this person can get double movement this turn, which gives you 1 karma. Fantastic. But I've played that because I know he can't move because somebody's already said, no, you can't pass. So I'll just get a free karma for no reason whatsoever.
Exactly. And that thin air one as well. Play on someone
play on that-
on
play
a
on
thin air tile, you gain a karma for that. And they don't have to spend the oxygen. But you spend the oxygen when you enter it, not when you're on it. And it's like, well, cool. I got a free karma. Brilliant.
Yeah. So I thought that was poor.
Fundamentally, D, I think it comes down to the fact that it's another Kickstarter that wasn't play tested
Yeah.
anywhere near enough as it should have been.
Not played tested by
Simple as that.
gamers who know how to word games, do timings in games with so many dick over cards that the timing is really important. That needs to have been play tested.
Yeah, agreed.
And the paths up the mountains, there needs to be more of them. There needs to be more variety of what you can do. Just whole host. I mean, you've listened to us moan about it for 20 minutes now. We can moan about it for another 20 if you like.
This video is as long as my other videos, and I didn't even have a gameplay
He's not said
too.
anything yet, and he's not scored it. So.
Yeah.
So score on the game in general, I would say 3 is being generous. On this particular game, 2 is being generous. I'm going to give it a 2 because I don't think any game deserves a 1 unless it's literally I roll a dice, I bet you a dice.
It hasn't physically harmed you.
No, yeah.
I don't know.
He might died a little bit inside.
I'm going to score this game. I'm going to do a 2.5 because 3 for the game, 2 for this particular play.
Fair enough. Would you want to play with Rebecca next week?
No.
Would you buy it yourself?
Yeah, just in case I need
To
to.
burn it.
Why not
Might need
kindling?
firewood.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, that's interesting. I know we didn't like it at all, and I didn't like it either. But I wouldn't say I hated it. I just don't want to play it again, if that makes any sense. It's just like if I had to score this game, the components are good. I thought the rulebook was alright. I mean, it's not terrible mechanically in terms of, moving through the knots. I quite like, even though aesthetically it looks horrible as hell, moving through the knots and stuff was quite interesting.
On paper, when somebody just designed a game, it probably looks like a decent game. But the problem is, it wasn't play tested, and then there's too many things.
It funded on Kickstarter, so there were several hundred people that agreed that it on paper looked like a good game.
All these things we've said, though, I think a whole lot of it comes down to they would all be fine and passable if it took an hour and a half to play. We spent 3.5 hours playing it. You can play in it. You can play Civ in that
We could have
time.
played Gaia Project, for the love of God.
Yeah.
We could have played a kind of Arkham Horror in that
What's
time.
worse
And
is
that's a
we
massive
spent
game.
another half an hour moaning about it. I'm going to give it a 4. I think I'll never want to play it again. I don't know. I know that sounds contradictory. It's like
It does make me wonder what on earth a game has to do to you to score less than that.
If anyone would like a copy, I might find one for sale somewhere.
because there was some. I kind of like the way the scoring works for a race game. I've not seen this before. Where you have different phases, like different phases to get there first, and it was interesting that I came last in the first in the last 2, so that was interesting. I thought the karma thing sounded cool when we started. You get karma, and when you're playing the karma card,
It just turned out as a grind, didn't it?
yeah, but the karma cards took over the whole game.
It was all about those.
And it was no longer a mountain climbing game to get to the summit. I didn't give a shit about the summit. It was what cards can I get to dick over my friends?
Game was us three sitting here going, can we dick them over so I can get ahead of them and get to the bottom to get this game over quicker?
Yeah. And I thought I was going to do it with my sled down there.
Well, you did. It's just that we removed your sled, so it took much longer than it should.
So there we go. There's our thoughts on Summit. I mean, like
12 and a half.
Yeah.
Nice.
Out of 40. I mean, I'm sorry, Inside Up Games, but we did not like that at all. And some people might like it. I mean, if you're looking for a mountain climbing game, I would rather suggest go play K2 or Everest. I think those are much better games.
Well, actually, there's one on Kickstarter now which looks quite cool.
Oh, the mountain thing,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Those
that's
are
cool,
actually
but it
cool.
hasn't been play tested.
I don't know. Very possibly.
One thing I will add, I kind of feel like maybe this game, depending on the group that you are playing with, if you're not so cutthroat and you're not really competitive, because I think us four in particular, we're all very competitive. And we'll
Yeah.
do, if there's literally an inch, if there's an inch that we can do to stop someone doing that one
Yeah.
small thing, we will do it.
That's it.
Yeah.
We work out
With
the
no
minutiae of
regrets.
it.
Yeah, you could potentially play with a group which are maybe a bit nicer, and they'll be like, "Yeah, you can pass, you can pass." We would like, "How can I get another karma just so I can say no to your movement?"
Yeah.
Maybe a different group will
Yeah.
be slightly different. I don't know.
I'm just flipping this over just before we finish to have a look what's different on this side. So
This is the
Sherpas.
This is the co-op side.
We've got similar blizzard
Yeah, you got the
track.
night-day thing, and I can't remember how. Yeah, time. That's
You get
it, yeah.
scores based on how
It
long
looks like
it took you
it
to.
half speed at night
Yeah.
looks to be. So it's just the other side. I think it may work better cooperative
I
because
actually-
the dicking over was some of the
Yeah.
stuff that slowed us down such a
I
massive amount.
think I preferred it, if memory serves, but it was a bit hazy. But yeah, in hindsight, I think I preferred the cooperative game, and I'm not a big fan of cooperative games on the whole.
No, I would say that's a fair comment. We play cooperative games, but more often than not, we like the competitive side of things.
I generally play cooperative games with another play group I play with, so I like a cooperative game, but it needs to be all involving. And I'm not sure this would be, but
Well,
tainted view and all that.
This is the problem. Why I say like D was hit the nail on probably is that we're a very competitive group and we like dicking each other over, but at the same time we still want to have fun with this,
Yeah.
in a shorter time frame. And
When I look at the dicking over side of things, I like to say about Roadhog or the Spartacus element to it, where you've got cards where you're dicking each other over. But
Spartacus. We could have played that in that time.
but the game that we'll say about Spartacus, there is still that element of you're in the lead, you're going to get dicked over, but the game's still enjoyable even when
Yeah.
you're at that stage. The time that it takes place, Spartacus, I still think everybody is
And you've got
involved,
more control
enjoying-
in Spartacus. People
Yeah.
can gang up on you, but it brings back that game we were playing that Rob and I tried ganging up on you.
I fucking
But
kicked your ass.
there's a little random element in there, and you can't stack the odds so much in your favour
Yeah.
that you just automatic. Whereas in this, you just pay your karma. Here, lose some health. Oh, you're dead.
bend over.
Yeah,
All right, I think people get the point that
we can go on some more.
Yeah, 40 minutes of us bitching about this is enough. So there's our look at Summit, the board game. If you like it, go check out their website. We'll move on to something else.